Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I literally just finished The Bear. I watched it in like 3 days. It was an emotional roller coaster. So I was literally watching it and taking notes. Very meticulous. So The Bear is through the network FX and FX. Most of their stuff is on Hulu. All of it, but the majority of FX's shows are really good. I'm a huge fan of, and a lot of them are like what makes Hulu so great. And yeah, I would say I prefer Hulu over all the other streaming services. But usually the second season of a show is kind of like a letdown, but this was definitely on par with the first season. I hate cooking and I would never work in a restaurant, but this show made me love it, even though I do not like cooking. So I think that's just a testament to how good the show is. If you haven't watched season 1, I'm going to talk about season 2, so I mean, the choice is yours, but I would watch the season 1 first before watching this. Like, the first season was just chaos, screaming, like just screaming for 30 minutes straight is kind of the whole show, but somehow it's enjoyable and funny. I just don't know how the show works. And I like fantasy, I like anime, I like K-dramas. I don't like realistic shows. So like a show about like people screaming at each other working in a restaurant is not like fantastical or glamorous at all. So it's something completely unexpected that I like it. So it was literally like my worst nightmare, but like I loved it, which is crazy. You kind of have to, there's a lot of like just confrontation. That's like the entire show, just like an onslaught of that. Yeah, I really love it. The cast is amazing. The writing is amazing. The music's amazing. And the whole show is just realistic, yet there's enough going on that you're still entertained and drawn in. This season, we had some, well, I'd start with the leads. Edebiri? I do not know how to say her last name, sorry. She did a great job. She plays Sid. She is the black girl boss. It was a really funny part, well, not funny, but when she was interviewing someone who wanted to work there, and he's like, when am I going to talk to the chef? And she's like, you are. So it's kind of just being a black woman, you just had to like prove yourself all the time, like all the time. So it was, I don't know, good to see, like you're just rooting for her basically. And our lead, so none other than Jeremy Allen White, who is just amazing. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of him after this. But so I didn't Google their ages, but if I were to guess, I was probably late 20s and Jeremy is like late 30s. And like, there was a scene at the very beginning of season 2, not the very beginning, and the restaurant isn't open yet, so they have free time after work, and Carmi's like, what are you gonna do? She's like, I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, I don't know, what are you gonna do? And I thought they were gonna like go out together or something, and it was just like this like tension. I don't think I'm making up this tension. Like, I mean, I want them together, but it's a little weird, but I know the tension is there and I'm not just making it up. And then this season, Carmi has a romance, and I hate to say it's a little shoehorned in, kind of. But I support it. It was kind of like, bam, love interest out of nowhere. But, you know, I was kind of supportive, even though I wanted him to be with Sid. But anyway, that would be a weird couple, but I don't know. I'm not making up potential. Because when Carmy went out on a date with Claire, he stood up Sid. So they had this whole like triangle thing. Okay, I'm blowing it kind of out of proportion. Like, he's clearly with Claire, but... And then he didn't tell really anyone about Claire because he's kind of like scared of committing to her. And he didn't tell Sid. And when Sid finds out, she says, "Who's Claire?" And it's like, there's definitely jealousy. Like, I'm not making this up. And the whole time, a tiny conflict is like, I'm making this whole show sound like a love triangle. That is like literally not the show, but that's what I focused on. And the whole time Sid's like, you know, focus on the restaurant and not on Claire, you know, kind of either you need to focus on opening this restaurant. So yeah, this season was like, the whole attention was like the time crunch of opening the restaurant, which like carried the plot along. And then we have the huge, it was like an hour-long flashback. Ooh, I was like, it's kind of long. I enjoyed it though. With Christmas dinner years ago, I didn't do the math, with Carmy's family, the Bears, and it had just John Mulaney and Jamie Lee Curtis just stood out. So claps to them, and like especially John Mulaney, because this show is just screaming all the time, but it's funny, and it's like it's a talent to like bring the humor and joy out of it. So claps to the whole cast for doing that. Richie was I'm like, he became like 4 different people. Like, first he was just like this insecure guy who was just like yelling and screaming all the time. Then he was like introspective, and then there's also a side to him that's like a good dad. And then in his final form, he just shaped up into like a very clean cut guy. So he was like 4 different characters. But what made season 1, well, for me, yeah, it was just what I am most into of the show is the tension with Sid and Carmy, and the tension with Sid and Richie in season 1, which, you know, I completely forgot about the stabbing, and they just had like so, like, I've never seen enemies so strong in a show. Like, usually they're enemies for like plot, or they eventually get together, but they are just pure enemies. And that tension kind of just sold the first season for me. It's just like, how the hell are they gonna work together, you know, and make this restaurant work? And they just hate each other. So yeah, those are kind of the main. But yeah, I love everyone. Everyone's hilarious. Like, I forgot how to say his name, but Ibra, he's hilarious. We love Marcus. We love Tina. So the whole cast just makes it watchable. And the final episode, watch it first. I'll give you a chance to leave now. When Carmy gets locked in the fridge, when Carmy was screaming, "Let me out," and he was scaring the new hires, the new chefs that were there. They were like just so scared the whole time by his like screaming. So I don't know, that was just hilarious to me. So yeah, it's okay. And now time to enter my PSA. I know what I say is not going to change or make any difference in the world, but I really don't like toxic workplaces or abuse, which was like shown in the show. And then in the cooking shows, I've seen a ton of verbal abuse. I've never worked in a kitchen, so I don't know what it's like at all, but I hope that restaurants don't have to be such a toxic place with so much like well, I mean, the main theme of the show, or a side theme, is the mental impacts on Carmy that all the verbal abuse had on him. So I just hope one day we can live in a world where kitchen staff don't have to yell at each other, and we can kind of cook with like good energy and more positive energy. So yeah, I loved the show for someone who hates food, like food and cooking. Like, I'm not a foodie, so and I don't love the screaming conflict, but that was a whole show and it was amazing. So yeah, hats off to the writers and to the actors and everyone who made the show possible. So yeah, stick around for my channel. I'm going to talk about more shows and books coming up. So thank you so much for watching.